Oh yes, we are back with more Sega Genesis games. This is Jurassic Park Rampage Edition, and if you've been with the channel for, well, a long time, which you probably haven't, you may remember that I actually played as the Raptor for my first Sega Genesis video, way back when my microphone sucked and everything was horrible. Anyways, you notice we're going to be playing through on hard mode, because we are men, you know, swift as the coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, the strength of a raging fire, and mysterious as the dark side of the moon. So, yes. Man, that was terrible. That was actually horrible. Anyways, the way this game works, if you haven't seen the other one or haven't played it, which you might not have, is there's sort of a little hub that you start in. You get to choose from 3 different levels, and so there's a little bit of choice involved, you know, making your way through the game. Now, playing through as Grant is actually a lot harder than playing through as the Raptor, but it's a lot of fun. You know, using the different weapons and everything is pretty good. So, the level I'm choosing to start with here is the Aviary. This is probably the most obnoxious of all the levels, which is why I chose it first. Basically, what you have to do is make your way down to the bottom of the map. It sounds simple, but the problem is that whenever one of these pterodactyls, I believe they're pterodactyls, not pteranodons, I don't think anyone really cares, whenever they catch you, they will actually carry you all the way back up to the top of the level, which is horrible. So yes, this is going to happen to you. You can kill them to, you know, avoid doing this, but sometimes it gets a little bit difficult to pull that off. So with that in mind, I'm actually just going to be sort of attempting to get through this level as quickly as possible. But, you know, we'll look around a little bit more in later levels. So that's the default gun, which is the tranquilizer. Nothing special about it. The one good thing, though, is that it'll actually fire as quickly as you can hit the button. So if you have a turbo controller, as I did when I was a kid playing the Sega Genesis, you can actually rapid fire the thing, and it becomes pretty much your best weapon. Don't have a turbo controller now, so we're going to be making use of some other stuff. Besides, it makes for more interesting video when you get to see the different weapons. So that's it. I'd recommend not hanging around too often. Let's go cargo ship. It's probably the hardest of the first 3 levels, just because there are a ton of enemies in it. And this one's a lot more straightforward, you know. Just make your way to the end of the level. That said, this isn't just a game where you know, hold to the right. There's a little bit more involved in it than that, which is good. Now, it's also worth noting that the tranquilizer gun is the only gun that won't run out of ammo, so that's why you'll see me sort of defaulting to it most of the time. Don't shoot him, or he will get very angry at you. Understandably. Now, as two-dimensional, you know, side-scrolling shooters go, this is actually a pretty decent one. The controls is actually pretty tight, and the weapons all feel reasonable. Some weapons feel better than others. I mean, this thing's basically a pea shooter. This shotgun is honestly pretty weak. You'll get to see that in a minute. Grenades are also pretty weak, but some of the weapons are really cool. Like the taser actually just vaporizes enemies, and flamethrower burns them to ash, and that sort of thing. So it's sort of a mixed bag as far as the weapons go. But it definitely, especially if you're playing on hard mode, does give you that sense of oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, you know, that kind of thing. So that's good. Enemies can kill you very, very quickly, but there's a lot of health scattered around the area, so you'll usually be okay. It does pretty well keeping the tension up while not being unfair. As far as enemy variety, you know, you've got several different kinds of dinosaurs: the Velociraptor, Dilophosaurus, Pterodactyl or Pteranodon, I'm not sure which it is. And they all behave a little bit differently. You also kill lots and lots of people. I mean, remember the part in Jurassic Park where Alan Grant kills tons and tons of people? Yeah. I remember that part. I think we're going to get to see the taser in action here. Yes. It's wonderful. This right here is the shotgun, and you'll see it actually takes multiple shots to kill anybody with it, which is kind of disappointing. That said, this weapon also fires pretty much as fast as you can press the B button, so it's not bad. When it comes to level design, it's, as I said, the levels aren't simply just, you know, move to the right. There's more involved in it than that. So, you know, you're going to have to be well, not necessarily backtracking, but not just, you know, moving in one direction. You're going to have to be navigating multiple, you know, multiple tiers of the level and going left and then right and down and up and that sort of thing. So, you know, it's a little bit more interesting than the typical side-scrolling shooter. Plenty of environmental hazards and that sort of thing make it a little bit more mixed as well. For some reason candy bars are health. I don't know exactly why. I mean, I can guess that maybe it's supposed to be like Dennis Nedry with his candy bars, and I don't know. By the way, I was a huge Jurassic Park fan as a kid, so that's why I know all this stuff. And what kid wasn't super into dinosaurs, right? Also, I don't know why grenades are raining from the ceiling here. It's kind of odd. And just shoot the doors to open them. That's the most efficient way. This little zipline mechanic is kind of neat. Nothing to write home about, but again, you know, there's a lot of just little stuff in this game that sort of breaks up the monotony. So, it's recommended. If you do want to check this game out, I mean, you can get a Sega Genesis and most of the games for really, really cheap on eBay. Like, I remember a few years back, I went on and bought a bunch of Sega Genesis games that I used to rent or used to own. And they're like $5–10 each. Although I'm sure there are some that are, you know, more rare and worth a lot more money. Or, you know, you could just go the emulator route. And honestly, who can blame you? It's a game that's no longer in production. You're not stealing money from anybody, despite what companies would have you believe. So, yeah, who could blame you? This is the flamethrower, by the way. Yes, be vaporized. Now, this is a pretty short game. In fact, this, 23-minute video is actually me beating the entire thing. That said, it is a game that you will probably have fun playing through multiple times. And, you know, having two characters mixes it up a little bit, because it's not like the levels are exactly the same. You know, they actually play completely differently, as they should. And the water's rising. Pro tip, don't go up that ladder because it's actually blocked at the top. So, you know, if you do have a Sega Genesis and you're considering picking this game up on eBay or something, I'd say, yeah, definitely check it out if you're into Jurassic Park or just 2D shooters. Or if you're debating whether or not to download a ROM of this game, well, just do it. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. And yeah, this is a thing that we're doing now. We're riding on a Gallimimus. It's rather awesome, actually. Now, this is another one of those levels that I'm just going to be not necessarily speed running through, but not stopping to explore everything, because if you do stop to get everything, chances are you're probably going to get killed on hard mode. So I would recommend just running to the right. And actually, you can make it through most of the level just doing that, but hey, it's still fun. This is another level where if you actually have the turbo controller, you can just sort of hold down the button and you can still run. So that's what I used to do. I just used to turn the turbo on and just be like with the tranquilizer gun, and it was rather glorious. One thing you have to watch out for are those little don't know what to call them, those little ropes going between the trees. If you run into them, you'll actually fall off and have to get back on. That's why you see me duck under them. I'll point them out when they come around again. And I think that's the game's way of sort of breaking up, you know, the portions where you're just sprinting to the right constantly. You have to think a little bit about what you're doing, or at least pay attention a little bit. There, those. You see that? I just ducked under it. Not too much else to say about this level. It's pretty cool, again. That's kind of how most of the levels are in this game. I mean, they're pretty cool. That's about all you have to say about them. I definitely do appreciate that they did mix it up a little bit, you know. Every level is a little bit different, and the mechanics do switch up, so yeah, it's decent. Didn't mention it yet, but the music's pretty good as well. It's kind of dark sounding, honestly. I don't know how well you can hear it, but it's pretty good. Like, if I just heard it, I would recognize it. It's not just the generic, you know, typical action game soundtrack. Also, don't you remember the part where they were getting attacked by helicopters in Jurassic Park? I remember that. I suppose you could argue that this is based more closely off of the book, but even the book, like, they weren't fighting people. I mean, there were... I don't know, it's been a long time since I read the book, but I remember soldiers at the end, but not actively trying to kill the protagonists. But hey, you know, whatever. Guess they thought it would be too boring if you just went around and shot dinosaurs the whole time. And it wouldn't be the first movie game that didn't exactly coincide with the movie. Anyways, I think this level's just about done. It's quite a long level, actually. That should be it. Alright, so now we've completed those three. We don't really have a choice as to where we go next. We're going to the Hidden Ruins. This level is relentless. In fact, at this beginning portion, I would recommend you just sprint to the right, because if you try to stop and take these guys out, you're going to take far too much damage. Probably end up dying. Again, this applies mostly to hard mode. If you're not playing on hard mode, yeah, you could probably manage it. And this is another level that actually has multiple paths you can take. If I'd gone to the left there and down, I could actually go basically underground. Although typically the above ground portion is a little bit more forgiving, so I usually would choose that. Whoops. See how many shots it takes to kill him with the shotgun, and that's rather disappointing. I would like to see the shotgun be a little bit more impressive, but hey. Complaining about a, what, 10, 15-year-old game, I guess is kind of pointless. I know I referenced this when I was playing Jurassic Park Trespasser, but don't you remember the ancient ruins that were in Jurassic Park also? Like, I guess that's a pretty standard action game sort of thing, ancient ruins. It makes for some interesting level design, so again, you know, can't quite fault them for that. Now, there is actually a reason that I'm conserving my ammunition here. You're actually going to need it for the last level of the game, which we'll get to that when we get to it. But I would recommend, if you have the taser, that you save the ammo for it. Or just do that because it looks awesome. And we'll see why. There are actually some power-ups that you can find that will give you tons of ammo with whatever weapon you have equipped. They're sort of hidden throughout the levels. I think I might have gotten one. But typically not worth your time to go searching for them because this is such a short game. So unless you know off the top of your head where they are, I'd just, you know, let it go. Anyways, if you do find those, you can use that, you know, switch to the taser or the flamethrower or the rocket launcher. Yes, there's a rocket launcher. And, you know, fill up your ammo with that. Otherwise, do conserve because you will be sorry if you don't. And I'll leave it at that for now. Now, one thing that gets a little bit tricky, you may have sort of caught on to this by watching it, is that there are actually no collision boxes on the enemies, so you can actually just walk right through them. And this gets a little bit difficult when trying to line up your shots, because this isn't Contra where you can, you know, run and shoot in any direction. You have basically, you know, 8 directions that you can shoot in, well, more like 6 directions you can shoot in, but you actually have to be stationary for most of them. So it can get a little bit tricky. Especially when you just kind of walk right through the enemies. This is especially dangerous when it comes to the Raptors. It's also tricky when it comes to these little guys in the, you know, foxholes or whatever you want to call them. Because you can't actually hit them unless you jump down into there or use grenades, which is what you're seeing me do here. You may also notice that there are these little pickups around that, like that, and these are essentially just points. I mean, you can, it shows you how many of them you collected, but they really do nothing for you. So, you know, unless you're trying to just 100% FC this game, there's really no reason to go for them. Same thing with that green and red tube I just picked up, you know, it actually does nothing. And suddenly an ancient evil. Destroy it. Well done. So this level does actually have one of the cooler things that you can find in the game. Oh, there's a wall here. How am I supposed to get through? I don't even know what I'm supposed to... Oh my goodness. And if that didn't sell you on the game, well, you have no soul. Okay, moving on. Got a different set of mechanics for this level as well. This is the river run. And I mentioned this actually in my old video, playing through as the Raptor. There's a really, really cool visual effect that goes on in this level. You'll actually see that the water, for a Sega Genesis game, actually looks fantastic. Just the overall effects they did with it look wonderful. And as you go deeper and deeper down, this is another one of those levels where you want to make your way to the bottom, basically. Well, you'll see. Basically, I am just really, really big on the graphics in this level. They look rather wonderful. Again, in this level, if you're playing through it, just avoid the enemies because you're going to die if you try and kill each and every one. Also, I believe I just picked up the rocket launcher. Watch out, because I believe that it actually damages you if you're close enough. I could be wrong, though. It's not a weapon I typically use, so... It's not like I play this game every single day. So you may notice that the it just got a little bit darker, and the color palette changed a little bit. This is going to continue, as you can see. and things just get cooler and cooler as you go on. Like, I never thought a simple palette swap would make me so impressed in a game. You may have noticed, actually I didn't mention this, the checkpoints will actually give you a hint as to where you should go, so, you know, they'll point an arrow, which, when you're just starting the game, is actually pretty helpful. Especially on this level, because, you know, it's not always just a matter of going straight down. Sometimes you have to, you know, go to the left and right to find out exactly which way you're supposed to go. So again, it's another nice touch. Now things get really crazy. Look at that. That's freaking awesome. I used to always love that as when I played this as a kid, and I still love it because, like I said, it looks freaking fantastic. I'm assuming this is supposed to be like the sunset, and that's why the water's doing that, or because I'm pretty sure it's not lava or you know, tang or something. So who knows? At any rate, it looks fantastic, so I don't really care. Now, we're just about through this level, and we're about to see why I recommended that you hold on to your taser ammunition. There is somewhat of a boss, which isn't exactly a boss fight as much as it is a boss getaway from, or boss run, I guess you would call it. If you've played the other Jurassic Park game on the Sega Genesis, you'll have an idea of what's coming up. And there we go. Alright, well, looks like we're almost home free. I don't see what could possibly... Oh my goodness! So basically what you have to do here is just keep going to the right and shoot him when he comes up on you. Now he has to take a certain amount of damage before he gets staggered back. So what you actually need to do is use a more powerful weapon, if you have it. That's why I recommended using the taser, because it'll actually knock him back in one shot. This looks easy, but it's actually very, very tense while you're doing it. If he gets to you, yes, you die. But hey, that was it. Like I said, pretty short game, but you know, it's got a decent amount of replay value. Some secrets to find, and 2 characters, and yeah, pretty decent all in all. Definitely a game that I enjoyed a lot as a kid, and so I thought I would bring it to you guys. So, I hope you enjoyed. I will leave you with the credits of the game. This has been Jurassic Park Rampage Edition, and I will see you guys next time.